Hello, and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. My name is Matt Lateplo, and on behalf of OTC Markets, we're very pleased you have joined us for our next live presentation from Relevant Gold. Please note, you can submit questions in the box to the left of the slides. You can also view a company's availability for one-on-one meetings through the Schedule Meetings tab found on the conference platform. At this point, I am very pleased to welcome Rob Bergman, CEO and Director of Relevant Gold Corp, which trades on the OTCQB venture market under the symbol RGCCF and on the TSXV under the symbol RGC. Welcome, Rob.
Thanks a lot, Matt. Appreciate being here, and thanks for having me. Before I get into the presentation, I just wanted to take the opportunity to, thank everybody who's out there listening and watching right now, and give a little introduction on myself and our co-founder, Brian Lentz, who's our Chief Exploration Officer. Brian and I are a bit of serial entrepreneurs in the natural resource space who've had a lot of success in the private sector and have worked significantly over the last 15 years with some of the world's largest mining companies, building one of the top tier consulting firms throughout North America with about 70 plus scientists working in that group. Since we've turned our focuses into Relevant Gold, where we are focused on developing Abitibi scale gold potential in Wyoming. And with that, I look forward to getting into it and taking everyone through our incredible journey here. We are an early stage junior explorer, so there are some forward-looking statements and a high degree of risk when it comes to investing in these types of opportunities. But we work really hard through strong fiscal management and sound technical diligence to mitigate as much of the front end risk as we can associated with these types of exploration projects. But ultimately, we think we've got a very strong value proposition. If you're looking for exposure to an early stage exploration gold project in the United States, look no further than Relevant Gold. We've built an incredible team of proven value creators throughout the marketplace, and we're focused on a much bigger idea of unlocking a potential mega district, specifically with Abitibi-like potential, and we'll kind of get into what all that means. With all this in mind, we've established a very large land position. We've got over 5 district scale projects with over 45,000 acres of ground, multiple projects permitted for long-term exploration and drilling. We've identified very high-grade gold at surface with surface rock chip assays up to and exceeding 160 grams per ton gold, and very high-grade gold at depth in our first ever drill program in 2022, where we intersected 83.8 grams per ton gold over 1 meter at our Golden Buffalo project. This year, we've got a 1,500 meter drilling program currently underway at our Never Drilled Before Lewiston project. And all of this is happening in Wyoming, which is an incredible place to operate. It's ultimately one of the top mining policies globally, as rated by Fraser Institute in 2020. And we've seen that in our ability to navigate the permitting system very cleanly and quickly and efficiently. And all of this is really leading to our focus, which is creating a pipeline of discovery opportunities in the exploration sector. Taking a look at our corporate structure and who's behind us, we've got a very sophisticated investor base and shareholder base that we're really proud of. New Gold Inc. has a 9.9% holding. Rob McEwen came in on our last financing and took a 6.4% position. And Brian Lentz and myself, amongst other management directors and insiders, hold the largest share of the company still at 25.5%. The remainder being made up of retail and ultra high net worth individuals. Taking a look at that incredible team that we talked about, Dr. Peter McGaw, some of you may be familiar with Peter. He was the co-founder of Mag Silver Corp and has led the discovery of a number of major global district scale deposits. Sarah Weber, she's out of Vancouver and she's a powerhouse. She's the CEO of C3 Alliance Corp and focuses on ESG, community relations, permitting, and she brings a lot of depth and experience there. Ron Parrott. Ron has led the discovery of over 20 million ounces of gold in Nevada. He was the co-founder of AUEX Ventures, which sold to Newmont for north of a couple $2 billion. And then myself and Brian Lentz, who round out the board. As I mentioned, Brian is our Chief Exploration Officer and currently is out at site overseeing the drill program as we speak. Leaning into some of the other shining stars, we've got our corporate management team, Mahesh Leonagi as our CFO, Sam Siebenaler, who's ex-Newmont, as our VP of Corporate Development, and Chris Jensen, who heads up our communications. But really some of the shining stars are these technical advisors here. Dr. Dean Peterson, he did his PhD in the Abitibi Gold Belts, and we'll actually touch on some of his work. Dr. Tom Campbell, he is the co-author of the Encyclopedia of Minerals, but he spent his career as the senior exploration geologist for Homestake Mining and then Barrick, both at the Homestake Mine and the Hemlo Mine in the Abitibi. And then Dr. Kevin Chamberlain, who's out of the University of Wyoming, and he is one of the primary authors that has done the tectonic reconstruction connecting Wyoming to the Abitibi gold belts at the time of mineralization, which we will get into the guts of that thesis. What are we going after? We're going after orogenic gold deposits. Why? Because they're some of the biggest, richest, highest grade deposits on Earth that have produced well over 1 billion ounces and have accounted for over a third of the world's global gold production. And really, it's important to just understand the 3 things that you really need to create orogenic gold systems. You first need a deep-seated metallogenic fluid source. So this is deep in the Earth's crust and mantle where it's accumulating your precious metals into a solution. Then when you have your major mountain creation and your tectonic event happen where you start to smash these plate tectonics together and create mountains, you form your second thing you need, which is a pathway. This is going to allow your golden-rich fluids to upwell into the Earth's crust. And that's where it's going to look for the third thing it needs, which is the trap. This is the favorable host rock and structural trap where these ore deposits can form. And what we started to see in Wyoming was really high-grade gold at surface associated with these long kind of 1 to 10 kilometer shear zones, really giving this support of potential large-scale orogenic systems. And when we look at orogenic gold belts, the most prolific in the world is the Abitibi gold belt. It's produced well over 200 million ounces in its tenure, and that gold has come along in these camps that are clustered along these east-west kind of anastomosing structural belts that are kind of golden in color on this map. And you can see just the abundancy of gold endowment throughout the Abitibi gold belt, stretching all the way across southern Ontario and Quebec. And that brings us to Wyoming, which we believe is an extension of the Abitibi gold belts and potentially the unexplored Abitibi gold belt. And this thesis is not something that we just came up with out of thin air. This came from connecting the dots in the actual academic literature, where we started to identify this consistency of the Abitibi and Wyoming being connected at the critical time of mineralization, really focusing us into Wyoming for the vast economic opportunity that we saw. And we've got a little animation to show it here. So these were connected 2.65 billion years ago when all the gold came into both of those systems. And then later at 2.1 billion years, you had your major tectonic rifting event that separated those two provinces apart to where they presently reside. And it was under that thesis that we started to look at Wyoming for having tremendous orogenic gold potential with Abitibi scale potential throughout the state, and really started to dig in. As we did, this is actually a figure that's out of one of the major academic literature publications. And you can see this green kind of circle is our Wyoming province that was once connected to the Superior province in the Abitibi gold belts. And we've focused in on these east-west anastomosing Archean belts, just like you see up in the Abitibi. And we've been able to establish and take control of almost 2 complete camp scale regions. Our South Pass camp, which hosts 4 of our 5 district scale assets, and our Bradley Peak camp, lying along this kind of Oregon Trail structural belt in central Wyoming. As we really got out and started to build this portfolio with the thesis that had scale implications as we have, it was really important, and we had a lot of board members beating the table to make sure that we tied up the most prospective ground right out the gate and really mitigate a lot of that long-term risk and competition coming in. So this is looking at our South Pass camp, which again, 4 of our 5 district scale assets lie within. Our Golden Buffalo and our Lewiston are our 2 flagship assets. And this is applying some of Dean Peterson's PhD work, where he was able to identify that 98% of the gold in the Hemlow, Timmins, and Kirkland Lake camps of the Abitibi, so about 110 million ounces of gold, specifically occurred within a 6 to 7 kilometer boundary of your major shear zones. So in those camps, that would be your Dester Porcupine Fault. Out here in South Pass, these are these black lines that you see on the map. And then in addition to that, this red dashed line is our 7 kilometer buffer. And within the geologic framework that we see here, this light blue, that's our Miner's Delight Formation. So that's that favorable host rock where the gold is happy precipitating out and creating these deposits. So you can see very quickly that we were able to take almost complete control of this entire camp scale area right out the gate as we started to develop this thesis. And when we look at how big that is at any scale of the Abitibi, the comparison is large. This is about 40 kilometers end to end, which if you were to put that around any major camp in the Abitibi belts, you engulf multiple multi-million ounce discoveries that have been made. So again, truly a camp scale region that we've been able to tie up vast control of out there in South Pass. As we look at that portfolio, we've got 5 district scale assets totaling over 45,000 acres of ground across 2 major camps. Our Golden Buffalo project and our Lewiston project are our 2 flagship assets. Golden Buffalo was drilled last year with a 3,500 meter program at 26 holes. 54% of those holes returned gold mineralization, with, again, our highest grade intercept being 83.8 grams per ton over 1 meter. And that came specifically out of about 170 meters of depth. So we were getting into the fresh rock where we could really see this as orogenic gold, and gave us immediate proof of concept of our thesis and that we have a large fertile orogenic system to test here at Golden Buffalo. This year, we're focused on drilling at Lewiston, where we've got a 1,500 meter program currently underway, and we're really looking forward to getting some results back from those targets at Lewiston. The rest of our assets are all getting work done this year, everything from regional soils starting at Golden Buffalo to detailed mapping and rock chip sampling across the portfolio, including our Bradley Peak camp. So we're really excited to kind of take a step back with our proof of concept of 2022 and focus on understanding the broader portfolio and developing additional targets for future testing. How we do that, again, with our scientific background, we're very systematic in our approach. As you can see throughout time, we've been diligently developing our portfolio and taking it through the exploration life cycle. Importantly, we try to focus on the things we can control and not the things we can't, like the markets, and focus on what we can do, which is doing really good, high quality exploration work and continuing to march these assets up the pipeline. So our Golden Buffalo, again, one of our major flagship assets. This star on the left here is where we had some surface trenching reveal 160 plus grams per ton gold. As you can see in the photos, this is some of the gold that came out of that trench that was dug in 2020. Very high grade coarse gold at surface there, which obviously is exciting when you start to look at it. It's along this 2 kilometer trend of consistent shearing in the Golden Buffalo shear zone here. And as we started to drill it, this high grade intercept of 83.8 grams per ton came out about 400 meters, stepped out to the east from our main surface mineralization in the trench. And again, at 170 meters of depth, really showing to us that this is truly a orogenic system, shear zone hosted system of scale with widespread gold fertility. Again, because about 54% of those holes returned gold mineralization specifically within the shear zones. Taking a look at Lewiston as we get in here, our other flagship asset. This is unlike Golden Buffalo that was really discovered in 2019, 2020. There was no historic mining at Golden Buffalo. Lewiston was one of the most prolific historic mine districts throughout the South Pass area. And a lot of those mines were mined down to about 100 feet where they intersected water and didn't have pump technology at the time. And so they abandoned those mines. And those mines are littered along this 10-kilometer plus shear zone corridor throughout Lewiston. We've got a number of targets throughout this area that have already come up from high-grade rock chip samples, returning up to 2 ounces per ton, 62 grams per ton out of our heavy hand target here in the northern part. These 2 northern targets are permitted, and we're currently drilling that north central target, the heavy hand target, as we speak. The one circled in yellow is our hidden hand target, which is some of the patented ground within this property package. And we've got a permit pending and expect to have that in hand going into next year. Interestingly enough, these are some deposit footprints to scale for understanding, this is 10.5 million ounce gold deposit out of the Abitibi, to give you perspective on how big the footprint is for these types of systems, to really illustrate the true district scale nature of our assets, and how any one of these targets has the opportunity to host large scale orogenic gold systems. So really excited about, currently being able to test this next target at Lewiston and look forward to getting results. Ultimately, our work to date has really given us the proof of concept we've needed, not only for our Abitibi thesis as it connects to Wyoming, but also for true orogenic gold opportunities of scale throughout Wyoming. We've got the right type of rocks, the right type of structural setting that creates these opportunities. We've identified all of the associated mineralization, alteration, geochemistry. And in addition, we've established one of the top land positions to develop this thesis across Wyoming and continue to build this scalable opportunity throughout time. So we're really excited about where we're at, and we're continuing to look forward into the future for a lot of continued pipeline of discovery opportunities. What that looks like from this year's perspective, we had a pretty robust program. We are doing, again, 1,500 meters of drilling at Lewiston at our heavy hand target, which had never been drilled before. So we're really excited to be the first ones to see the rocks there and see what comes out. In addition, we're continuing to refine our targets at Golden Buffalo, where we've proven a orogenic shear zone hosted fertile gold system that will need significant follow-up, and the potential extensions of that main shear zone is one of the things that we're investigating this year. We've got a robust soil sampling program currently underway out at the South Pass Gold Camp, which has started at the Golden Buffalo project and will be working out from there. In addition, detailed mapping and rock chip sampling across the portfolio to really start generating new target opportunities. And all of this is going to be combined with a big regional airborne geophysical survey that is currently being flown over our assets. And that is at no cost to our shareholders, as that is being flown by the Wyoming Geological Survey in a partnership with the U.S. Geological Survey. So we're really excited about that, and that hopefully will give us the opportunity to unearth some maybe obscured targets and build from there. Quick peek at the Lewiston drilling program. Again, we've only got 1,500 meters here. We're really focused on understanding the geology at depth. We've got high-grade gold at surface associated with these stacked shear zones, these near vertical shear zone systems. So generally, we'll be drilling across those as we want to understand the different alteration profiles between these parallel shear zones, mineralization opportunities, as well as, do these shear zones extend at depth? Do they show that true orogenic system potential? So we're looking forward to getting this kind of initial phase 1 drilling program done at Lewiston here very soon. So in summary, we've got an incredible thesis that connects Wyoming to the Abitibi during the time of mineralization. We've established 5 district scale projects throughout Wyoming with significant exploration potential. And we're really focused on systematic work and doing good, high quality science to really drive our target portfolio forward. And with that supreme focus on discovery, where most value can be created for our shareholders. Achieving orogenic gold proof of concept in 2022 really helped catapult us into our exploration program for this year, where we're drilling 1,500 meters at Lewiston and doing a widespread regional program. Recently, we've uplisted to the TSXV and OTC to broaden our capital markets exposure. So we appreciate everybody tuning in here today. And we look forward to continuing to grow our already very strong shareholder base. And again, all of this is really in the pursuit of a pipeline of discovery opportunities with Abitibi potential in Wyoming, United States. And one of our board members says it well, but really applying a revolutionary idea to an overlooked area, creating a remarkable opportunity in any circumstances. So with that, I'd say join us for the next big discovery in Wyoming as we continue to pursue district scale gold opportunities out there. And with that, I will segue into the questions. So one of the first questions and one of the most common questions I get is, when do we expect to receive results from the Lewiston drill program? Currently, we are underway on that program, so drilling is likely to wrap up in the next 2 weeks, at which point we will be processing the core as quickly as possible to get it out to the labs. Current turnaround at the labs is typically 6 to 8 weeks, so we're hoping by kind of end of the year to start to get our results from this program. Another question is, are all of our projects in Wyoming, and how does the permitting compare or differ to the Abitibi? Yes, all of our projects are in Wyoming. From a permitting perspective, I've had the good fortune or misfortune of permitting in most major mineral jurisdictions throughout North America with our background in the consulting industry. And Wyoming is one of the best places we've ever operated. There is a very direct, streamlined path for permitting. We've been able to establish long-term exploration permits as full EAs in kind of an average timeline of about 6 months. So, second to Nevada, I'd say, as far as permitting goes here in the U.S. So we feel very fortunate for that. Another question is around the infrastructure related to these projects. We have incredible infrastructure out there. This was a historic mining district in South Pass. So we've got everything: power, water, roads, access, you name it, within 5-10 kilometers of any given site out there. So we've got incredible infrastructure as we continue to develop this through the long term. And there's a question around the capital needs as we roll into 2024. Ideally for us, we will be ramping up our capital to fill the treasury so that we can go for a much more robust and aggressive program as we continue to develop this thesis. But we can't control the markets again, so we focus on what we can control. As far as an exact number, I can't necessarily put that out at this time, but we do look to kind of increase our aggressive exploration profile across our portfolio. And I think that's all the questions I have so far. If there are any more, feel free to populate those in the chat box. I'm more than happy to answer any questions. Additionally, if you need to reach out to me directly, you can get me at rob@bry.group. And I'm happy to schedule one-on-ones through the meeting platform as well and answer any of your specific questions. But with that, if there's no more questions, we look forward to seeing you guys all follow our story. It's an exciting one here in the United States. We're really excited to be OTC listed so that we can provide this early stage gold exposure to folks here domestically on these projects and really join us in this pursuit of the next big discovery in Wyoming. So with that, I would say thank you all very much for attending, and I look forward to continuing to present on this platform